Corvette C1, America's first sports car launched with a truck engine. Design chief Harley Earl unveiled the concept at the 1953 Motorama in New York. Public demand stopped the show, and Chevrolet rushed 300 hand-built units into production. The body was molded entirely from fiberglass, radical for any mass-produced car at that time. Beneath sat a 235 Blue Flame 6 from Chevrolet trucks, paired with a 2-speed automatic from family wagons. Chevrolet built 3,640 cars for 1954. Roughly 1,200 sat unsold by year's end. By next year, production collapsed to roughly 700 units, and cancellation was on the table. Ford's Thunderbird launch saved it. GM refused to lose to a rival. Corvette C4ZR1. America's fastest car had a British engine built by a boat company. In the mid-1980s, engineer Dave McClellan launched a project codenamed King of the Hill. After GM acquired Lotus in 1986, the British firm designed the LT5 engine. It packed 4 overhead camshafts, 32 valves, and an all-aluminum block. A dashboard valet key cut output to roughly 250 horsepower for parking attendants. In 1990, it set a 24-hour endurance record averaging 175.8 miles per hour. It launched at almost $59,000, nearly double the base Corvette's $32,000. It broke a world record, earned its crown, and was canceled before the base model. Corvette C5. General Motors officially canceled the C5 program in the early 1990s. Chevrolet manager Jim Perkins and engineer Dave Hill refused to accept it. They quietly diverted marketing funds to build a running prototype in secret. The chassis used a single 13-foot steel tube shaped by water pressure. Executives picked the pushrod LS1 over a modern overhead cam engine in a blind test. The C5R won its class at Le Mans in 2001, 2, and 4. The LS1 kept the exact bore spacing of the 1955 small block. A car the company canceled became the engine the world copied. Corvette ZR1. GM built its most expensive car ever while sliding toward bankruptcy. In 2004, the CEO Rick Wagoner challenged engineers to build a $100,000 supercar. Engineers codenamed it Blue Devil after Wagoner's Duke University mascot. A supercharged 6.2-liter LS9 V8 produced 638 horsepower through an Eaton intercooler. Carbon ceramic brakes and magnetic dampers became standard, a Corvette first. It lapped the Nürburgring in 7 minutes, 26.4 seconds, and topped 205 miles per hour. The UV blocking clear coat for the carbon roof cost $60,000 per gallon. As GM headed toward bankruptcy, engineers named their supercar after the CEO's college mascot to keep the funding alive. Corvette C8. The mid-engine Corvette arrived 23 years after its creator died. Zora Arkus Duntov pushed for a mid-engine Corvette starting in the late 1950s. He built 3 prototypes. General Motors rejected each one as too expensive. In 2014, engineers secretly assembled a prototype codenamed Blackjack from borrowed parts. The 6.2-liter V8 sits behind the driver, visible through rear glass. A Tremec 8-speed dual-clutch transaxle replaced the manual entirely. No alternative offered. Chevrolet announced a base price of circa $60,000. VIN 001 auctioned for $3 million. After 67 years opposing European supercars, the Corvette finally beat them by becoming one. Corvette C2 Stingray. Its most valuable feature was condemned by its own chief engineer. In 1963, design chief Bill Mitchell took inspiration from a Mako shark. Designer Larry Shinoda ran a structural bar down the rear window. Independent rear suspension replaced the solid axle, letting each wheel move alone. Engineer Zora Arkus Duntov called the split window bar a dangerous blind spot. Duntov won. The split window vanished after exactly 1 model year. Chevrolet built 10,594 split window coupes in 1963 at $4,252. One sold for $412,500. Duntov won the engineering argument and lost everything else. Corvette C3. Nicknamed the Shark, it spent a decade losing its bite. Design chief Bill Mitchell, an avid deep-sea fisherman, wanted a predatory shape. Larry Shinoda's 1965 Mako Shark II concept became the 1968 production car. Early cars hit a 427 L88 big block rated at 430 horsepower. By 1975, emissions rules cut the base engine to 165 horsepower. Chief Engineer Zora Arkus Duntov retired in 1975, disillusioned with the direction. In 1979, Chevrolet sold 53,807 units, the all-time Corvette record. It lost half its horsepower and outsold every Corvette before or since. Corvette C7. The race car had 159 fewer horsepower than the street car. Development began in 2007, then stalled during GM's financial collapse. Chief Engineer Taj Jukter scrapped the existing design entirely and started over. A hydroformed aluminum frame replaced the C6 steel structure on every model. It was 60% stiffer and 99 pounds lighter than before. The Z06 street car made 650 horsepower from a supercharged V8. Supercharging was forbidden by the regulations governing its own racing version. The race-winning car at Le Mans was the weaker one,